Yo, 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 what's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to yet again another fantastic indie creator interview. It's your Caper Cody, and we're keeping it geekly with one of our very first guests, Samuel Vera. I mean, interview number 7. This is interview 357, so 350 in between. I mean, literally, I, to this day, will not ever forget you and George. I mean, you guys were so inspirational for me. When I first started this, I remember my first interview with George. He's like, you're a natural, and then our talk, and you're like, yeah, dude, you keep doing this, and I really took that and ran with it, as you could see. So I seriously, every time, dude, thank you guys for that.
Well, nah, man, thank you. I mean, yeah, thank you for the kind words. I said it to you off air, but what you did and catapulted your podcast and your basically your identity, right? You have a look, you have a feel, you have a flow. You really identified and identified your branding. Your branding is like legit, and you're killing it. You're killing the game, and so I'm excited for you, brother.
Yeah, and I mean, you are as well. I mean, out there hitting conventions, pumping out books. We're here to talk about There's an Alien in My Toilet Volume 1. So you've already knocked out 5 issues, collecting it in one big volume. Sure. I mean, for anyone tuning in for the first time, give us a little bit about yourself and, what's been up since last time you've been on the show.
Well, 7 seems to be the lucky number because it seems to be the common denominator. Episode 7, episode 357 is pretty dope. But since then, since we've talked, before then I was a brokepreneur, right? So I took some time off to try to, build my brand and work on my books. And now I'm back in the workforce. So content is not being put out as aggressively as I was before. I was doing a page to 2 pages a day, and from my comic books, we were doing like 8 episodes a week on Catch the Craze podcast. There was a lot of stuff going on, so things have slowed down and is leveled off, right? But the good thing is that my subscribers, I think when we were on your show, we were like under 500 or 400 subscribers. Now we're over 1,000.
Wow! Congratulations.
So, Thank you. So the popularity has grown with the channel. Since then, I've launched my art channel on YouTube, and I'm over 700 subscribers to that. And it's an active audience, which is great. I don't want just the subscribers. I want people to ask questions. I want people to comment. So that's what's great. The engagement has grown significantly, and since then, Doodie is now a graphic novel, and Doodie's also a comic strip in a newspaper, which is dropping next month, published by A Kid in a Comic. And Doodie's one of 30 strips by a lot of talented industry veterans and unknown like your boy here, and building his name. So I'm excited to be a part of that collective group. And I was excited that they even reached out to me, and I thought I was being punked when they reached out and they say, hey, we we saw your Kickstarter. We really like what you're doing. We have a project, a newspaper we'd like to have a comic strip in, whatever. And I thought I delayed the process, and it was like a 2-month long process. And I said, well, send me contracts. Let me see whatever. And so finally, so the first one drops next month. You can subscribe to akidinacomic.com and get the newspaper delivered to your house 7 times a year. And it's a robust newspaper. It's pretty dope. And it's like, back in the days, remember the daily news?
That was like the best, right?
Yeah, when you get that newspaper and you get all the comic strips from, Garfield and all that stuff. So it's similar to that. And so that drops. And then I just came back from the Puerto Rico Comic Con. I was there a week ago. And that was really dope. I met some people who support my art channel, and they wanted to meet me, so that was exciting. And I got some new.
That had to have been like so validating, right? To have people like, I'm here to see you, like.
Dude, that was the first time ever, right? So I've never, when you reach out to, when you have guests on your show, they'll say, "Oh yeah, I've been watching your show," but they don't actually actively want to go and find you, right? But the vlog, for some reason, had a different connection with people. And one of the things I get all the time is how transparent I am on the realities of the game, right? Because it's not as easy as people make it sound, and especially when you're independent. So, and that was one of the things. Like I walked through all the processes, and from cost and the stress and all that other stuff.
Dude, you have one of the biggest like comeback stories that I to this day love. You know what I mean? Like your comeback is inspirational for real.
Thank you, man. Thank you. It's just a hustle. I mean, I have this no quit attitude, and I really want to see, I really want my baby, I want Doodie to flourish, and I want, readers. I want people to grow up with Doodie the way I grew up with Garfield and Charlie Brown. You know what I mean? That's my whole goal. It's really that, and I love creating the character, and I just love drawing and creating. So a lot of good things have happened. Doodie's in the newspaper. I'm going to do an in-store book signing on Free Comic Book Day, one of the busiest days in comic book retail history, right? Free Comic Book Day, you get hundreds of people online coming in, and I'm going to have a big table hanging out with my buddy Paul Gomez, who does Bushibu and PTSD. So he's going to be there. I'll be there at gigs in Texas, and we're going to, be signing copies of our books, and then next weekend I'll be at the Central Texas Comic Con at Waco, Texas. So I'll be exhibiting there and connecting with the audience as well. So a lot of moving parts. Excited, getting things, and I'm running the Kickstarter at the same time. So
I'm surprised you even had free time to come on the show. You sound like one hell of a busy man. Real quick, we have Juicy Nerdess joining us over on Twitch, stopping to say hi. Welcome to the stream. If you guys are watching on Job for a Cody, right here is the link to Keeping It Geekly. This is kind of like, just us talking, but if you go to Keeping It Geekly, you'll see an animated background with interiors flash, and we'll get to the interiors as soon as we pull up the Kickstarter. Now, Sam, what goes into taking a comic book and putting it into a comic strip? I mean, because you only have a couple panels to really get it to pop off, right?
Well, what's fascinating about this Alien in My Toilet and the project, when I first created it in 2005, I created it as a comic strip.
Ooh.
So I already had storyboards in my closet. So when they reached out to me, I pulled them out, and I was like, okay. I changed some things, I redid everything. I re-illustrated everything on my graphic tablet, but I had actual physical storyboards. And so I was like, oh, yeah, this is going to be an easy transition. Now I just have to redraw it, color it, the whole bit. And what I did was, because it's a whole different audience, right? And new comic strip readers are different from comic book readers, right? Sometimes they don't go hand in hand. So what I'm hoping, I'm telling the same story. It started off with issue 1, but in a comic strip format. So the challenge with a comic strip, and the great thing is, it was like the stars and the moon aligned, because when I created it back in 2005, I did it in the format where it's 5 panels, and you have your open, middle, and cliffhanger, right? You always end on a cliffhanger, right? You always end up with what's about to happen, and you go next one, right? So that was already set. So I actually did myself. You don't know how life is going to turn out, right? So back then, it was almost as like I saw myself in the future. Said, "You're going to need this, Sam. Keep this in the closet. Don't throw it away." And so it was an easy transition for me.
That moment too, I could see where you're like, this has to be a joke. I got a whole closet filled, just ready to go. We have John Anthony from the Bubble Patrol joining us over on YouTube, saying sup, Sam and Cody. Welcome to the stream. Another, I think that was interview number 5. So another one of the OG founding fathers for interviewing on this channel. So let's get into the design of Doodie. I just love how you're able to put him in so many different sandboxes and so many different, one of my favorite issue 1, the Matrix, this was such a, I love just how you're able to do it. Where'd you draw these influences from when creating his design?
So, I grew up with Bugs Bunny, right? And if you ever watch Bugs Bunny, he's always in different costumes, right? And Doodie, I'm a big Alf fan, and so when I was creating Doodie, I'm always inspired by movies. I'm always inspired by what I see. So Doodie has an active imagination, right? So, and it's because of his active imagination, it's his safe space, because in reality, he is awkward, right? It's hard for him to fit in. He's a little, right? So he's overly ambitious. He oversteps, right? He bites off more than he can chew. He's always taking a licking. But in his dream state, he imagines himself being larger than life. So that's where the characters come in. So if, for instance, in issue number 2, he gets attacked by red ants. That's his first encounter with red ants. He's never seen red ants before, right? So now he gets knocked out, right? And in his dream state, he's now a samurai and the ant are ninja, and he's defeating his foes, right? So in every episode, Doodie becomes a larger than life character. To basically, it's almost as he's justifying his perception of himself with his imagination, but in reality, he knows that he has to try really hard to, win the favor of others, right? So he overcompensates with his bravado, and that's why he gets himself into all sorts of trouble. So he's just not equipped for life, and he's learning along the way the hard way, but his safe space is his imagination. So I get to play with him. And what's great about the art channel is that when I do live streams, people say, hey, can you draw Doodie as Lionel from Thundercats, or can you draw Doodie as Goku? And so I just have fun just drawing him in so many different characters.
We have John, kind of like Muppet Babies in terms of the use of imagination. I love just how literally out of this world. I mean, he is the shining pride of Uranus crashing into Earth. Running from bears, wolves. We have him teaming up with Herman the Chihuahua, or Herman like wanting to get rid of him. I just love the adventures. I mean, what type of, how do you put yourself in this creative space to when you start working on these panels? Do you like to consume like certain types of music, or maybe have a TV show in the background? Like, what do you do to help put yourself in that mindset?
What's crazy when I'm drawing Doodie, I'm either listening. It's great. I'm either listening to a podcast, and usually I'm just listening to Joe Rogan, and I just hear chatter in the background. But I have to be in a creative mindset if Doodie's not communicating to me, nothing's happening. So I can go days without creating, because it's got to be he's ready to tell me how to write the next story, or whatever it is, and I feel like I'm just a tool. And that there's this energy that comes and says, all right, I'm ready. Let's tell the story. And then once I hit that table, I'm not done until the thought stopped. Right. So I can be there from like 8 a.m. to 2 a.m. nonstop. And I'm only getting up to go to the bathroom and get me a sandwich. That's it. So when it comes, I capitalize on it, because when it doesn't come, it's a long wait. So it all depends. It all depends. And it's not really writer's block. I think it's just that creative flow, because I'm always creating. But, so whether I'm creating a podcast or I'm writing future issues or whatever, but when it comes to illustrating, Doodie has to talk to me first, and then we're just in sync. And then I can listen to either classical music, or sometimes I'll just listen to reruns. I'll just replay the Muppets Christmas special on YouTube, and I'm just listening to it as I'm drawing, and that's how it works for me. It's odd.
I listen to a lot of Joe Rogan too, just because like how interesting a lot of his guests are. Like a lot of them are just like next level, and I just love it because Joe, a lot of people think Joe's like this big stoner, which he is, but he knows a lot too. He's very well versed in a lot. But my favorite thing is the way he handles his guests. Like every caliber, no matter like if they're like a Nobel Peace Prize winner or some dude who just made something, he handles them all with like this level of like respect and interest that is just really captivating.
Yes, that's what I love about him. He's a natural, and he makes it look like it's just a bunch of guys, old friends at a bar, just hanging out and just for the day.
Dude, his talk with Joey Diaz. I love when he sits down with Joey Diaz so much. Oh my god, dude.
Joey Diaz is a whole nother level. Yeah, it's crazy. But I mean, I've been listening to Joe Rogan before he was Joe Rogan, right? So I've been following him for a long time. George and I had so many debates about Joe Rogan because he's like, "What's your fascination with him?" I said, "Because he's mastered the art of conversation, in my opinion." You know what I'm saying? It's like Steve Jobs mastered the art of presentation. Joe Rogan has that conversation down pack and then the good thing is that he's also a student, right? So he studies and he learns, and he's always hungry for more information, even when he's talking to guests and it's a topic that he's like, well, tell me more. He's like so interested, even, so I think that's what's fascinating about Joe.
And to hold a conversation for 2 to 3 hours and have it be organic and interesting and engaging is not an easy task. I know sometimes I struggle doing that with 30 to 40 minutes, depending if the guest isn't very talkative. It could be a challenge. So but you also, outside of all comic creation, you have a podcast yourself. Feel free to tell us a little bit about that too.
Yeah, Cast the Craze podcast. I mean, I launched it in 2005 when there were really no podcasts. It was just, I think it was Comic Geek Speak and iFanboy were the only two comic related, but they were focusing on the big guys, right? So I was like, wait, hold on, stop. There's a lot of little guys around me. I was like, yo, we're creating Cast the Craze podcast. I called Joe. I went to Sam Ash radio station. I was like, hey, because I went to a pod camp back in 2005, and that's when it was really cooks were doing podcasts, and it was like being introduced to the market. So I was like, so I learned what I was going to need. I went to Sam Ash and said, I need this stuff, right? And so they gave me a mixing board and mics and all that stuff. I went home, and this is when we had, dating myself, we had camcorders, right? So we, we didn't have all this great technology today, right? So, and we just went, and we had everybody. We had Michael Levon Oming. We've had what's his name, the creator of Gargoyles, the animated series. We had
wow.
Yeah, I mean, people were flocking to the show, and at that time it was audio primarily, and then we transitioned to YouTube. But the audio downloads were in the tens of thousands, and I didn't understand what that meant. I didn't know how to monetize. That's the one thing we missed at the podcast, right? So when I left podcasting, we left everything. So everything just fell to the wayside. After 10 years, nothing happened. Catch the Craze went dead silent, and coming back in the game, everybody's in the water, right? Before, nobody wanted to go in the water and swim. Now everybody's in the water. So
you
now,
bumping elbows like, give me some room here.
So I'm like, all right, how do we find our lane? And I was like, stick to the formula, and we just went back in. I said, George, this is how we're going to structure the show. Come up with a topic. He came up with Get Your Meds. We said, all right, this is how we're going to segment it. We're going to do 25 minutes of an interview. We're going to have 15 minutes of Get Your Meds. We're going to do intro, outro. We'll have sponsors. We'll have opening track, the whole bit. And we set it up, and we just came out. And it was a long journey to get to 1,000 subscribers. That's for sure. Because we launched in 2019, and we were like, I don't know, 75 subscribers. I don't know where we were.
Dude, it's a grind. It is literally like I've done Twitch. I blew up on Twitch. I think 4,500 followers. YouTube, wow. You are literally doing it sub by sub. Sometimes yes. I am promoting my YouTube like a Kickstarter some days where I'm like, hey guys, have you subbed today? Like,
yes. It's a journey. But what I like about it is that we do have some loyalists that'll come out every week, and then we have people who just say, you don't want to subscribe because I dig it, but they're not really active. And then sometimes a topic might interest them and they'll show up in the live stream, or they'll put a comment in and it's like, oh, look, you haven't heard from them in a long time. So I know the listeners are there, and it's growing, and the views are there because, we get the analytics. So that's good. So we're just trying to build it from there. They said when you get to 1,000, it's supposed to get easier. Yeah, right. So they lied. Don't believe the hype. It's all lies. I was
holding on hope.
No, it's all lies. YouTube makes it harder. Now they don't want you just to have views on your normal. They want you to have short views as well. So they're making it harder and harder. I'm like, oh, these guys suck, right? So, but it's a grind. But I love talking to people. I love stories. For a while, it became just a promotion, right? So there was a point where we were getting nothing but everybody who was promoting the Kickstarter, and the story and building those relationships was gone, right? So I'm really more interested in the person than anything else, and I really want to know that what makes you tick. And so I was like, George, we've gone commercial. We need to tailor back to what we started out as, and I really want to know about. So, talking to Paul Gomez, it was really, if you haven't seen that episode with Paul Gomez, it was just last Thursday. Fantastic. If you want to know how to overcome obstacles, you want to know how to create a goal, and he's filled with values. He's a great father with his kids. I mean, the guy's a hustler. He's the new face of the hustle, right? So he's really doing things in a big way, and I really enjoyed that conversation. So check it out with Paul Gomez. It was a fantastic interview.
So I think right now would be a perfect segue. Let's check out something else that is fantastic, and that is the campaign for Volume 1. So guys, give us 1 second. We're going to be transitioning over to our comic showcase and get this pulled up right here. And then once again, for everyone that is watching, we're going to be dropping that link in chat. Be sure to check this out with us. If you can back, we would love to see that. But putting this on Facebook or Twitter or anywhere you can, word of mouth is 100% free, and you're going to have a friend, family member, or even like a kid. This is suitable for all ages. With that being said, is that challenging? Crafting a series that is going to be able to hit the beats for not only like my daughter, but for me too.
Well, it's challenging today, right? Because when you don't have the marketing power of a major publisher, right? So it's challenging because on crowdfunding, what's dominating crowdfunding are three things, right? It's adult content, right? On crowdfunders. So sexy, scantily clad, that's killing the game on crowdfunding. And that's just not who I am or what I create. I can
see Doodie in a bikini though. I'm picturing it.
yeah, Doodie, cover your ears. So that's killing the game. If you have a trading card game, or tabletop games, those are killing the game on crowdfunding. All ages content is a harder push, right? On crowdfunding, it's for some reason when I'm at a convention, I can't keep Doodie on the table. But on crowdfunder, it's a lot harder. I work so much harder on crowdfunding to push and get them out there. But when they read it, they fall in love with the character, right? And that's my goal. I just want you to read it. Take a chance on Doodie. If you're watching this today on Keeping It Geekly, and if you back this book, a physical pledge, you'll get Doodie's Monsters on Planet Cthulhu, the sketch cover, the blank sketch cover, free. So this is issue 1 of the second coming of Doodie, Doodie's Monsters on Planet Cthulhu. It's a fantastic series. It's Doodie after Earth, when he gets back on his planet and he's bored and he finds out that people from his planet are disappearing in the outer rim, and they're like, what's going on? Then he hears his name, Cthulhu. He's never heard of a Cthulhu before, and so he races off to the outer rim, not knowing what he's about to get himself into. So it's a fantastic start to the next generation of Doodie, and that'll take off after the series ends. But you'll get this with that graphic novel if you make a physical pledge, and that offer ends tonight. So
that's a fire offer. Thank you so much for that. That is a fire offer. I was about to ask you about Doodie's Monsters on Planet Cthulhu, because when I was checking out your bio on your website, I seen it. I was like, okay, this is something I haven't seen before. Like, when did you come out with that?
So Doodie, The Den in My Toilet is a 10-part miniseries, right? So, and then it's Doodie, right? So Doodie goes on a lot of different adventures, and I'm kicking it off with Doodie's Monsters. And so, I wanted to tell that story. So everyone thinks it's like Cthulhu's the main, it's Doodie's Monsters. So Doodie, that's each spinoff is going to be a 4-part mini, which would be a collected graphic novel. So Doodie's Monsters is going to be 4 parts. And then it's going to go on to Doodie the Samurai story, right? So it's going to go to ancient Japan. It's going to be a lot of great stuff. So Doodie goes on a whole lot of different adventures, even adventures in space. Because it's really about him and his journey and the characters. He has a best friend named Cheeks, right? So Doodie and Cheeks, right? So you know, him and Cheeks get into all, and Cheeks is the reasonable one, right? And Doodie is just like, you know, doesn't even think about the consequences, and Cheeks is trying to reel him back, and you know, so they get into all types of craziness. But then there's also the 3Ds, right? Dee Dee, Dottie, and Daisy, right? There's the girls in Doodie's life, right? And you know, and one of them is in love with Doodie, and so they're also involved in a way where you're trying to figure out. So Doodie, for some reason, because he gets himself into so much nonsense, he gets a lot of others involved in his nonsense, just to protect him. You know, so that's what makes him endearing. You know, he's trying to live up to his father's standards. His father's the Emperor of Uranus, and he's trying to live up to his expectations. So that's why he goes on these fool's missions.
You know, I'm 33, but I can't stop laughing during some of these. I love it so much. And that's like the charm to this, right? It's like there's so much like charm and humor that like maybe a kid won't get right off the rip, but like if you're a grown adult, you're gonna be like, all right, I see you. Like, and the names, like I see red people, like I love, man, the first flush, like these names are such perfect play on words.
Yes, so you know, it's funny because I did the first flush, the Rambo edition cover for the Puerto Rico Comic Con, which is this one right here. It's Doodie as Rambo with the Puerto Rican flag, and on it says "Cógelo con take it easy." That's one of the things my grandmother used to say to me when I was a kid, right? So it's a mix. It's a Spanglish phrase, right? English and Spanish, and I did that as a free bonus for the second week of my campaign, and 10 people took advantage of that. So this week I'm doing the Doodie's Monsters, and it you know, ends tonight. So if you get this, you know, you'll get that as well. So yeah, I'm trying to get the readership. This volume, it will be distributed at the end of the year or next year in stores, volume 1. So it's just, I'm just trying to build an audience. He's an endearing character. This book itself introduces a lot of new characters like General Goatee, because he finds out that he's the one who sent Doodie to Earth as a joke. And now the Emperor's like, oh, where's my son? So he has to go and get Doodie back. You know, Bobby, the kid in the house, he's adamant. He saw something in the bathroom and he's trying to prove to his dad. So he gets his buddy Patrick. They're both gamers, and they're plotting to find out, you know, that, you know, capture this alien. You know, Agent Doe, you know, the number one agent in the government, is on track, and they're rounding up all of the witnesses that crossed paths with Doodie. They happen to be all animals, and so they're rounding up all the animals in the woods. They're gonna put them through interrogation. So there's a lot going on in this volume.
I love, like, even in the first issue when Doodie thinks he never gets a rest. Like he's like running from all these animals trying to tear him apart. He gets into a cave. He thinks he's sleeping on a nice comfy bed. It's a bear. I mean, so this the action is just jam-packed throughout every issue. How many pages in total is this volume?
This volume is 140 page graphic novel.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
full color, a lot of new characters. If you thought it was just Duty in the Woods, now this takes off. And so it's starting to get hairy for Duty. Because now all the worlds are closing in. You know, we're going to be introducing a janitor, and you'll find out why the janitor's in it. There's a ghost busting team called No Boo for You. Catching ghosts is what we do. So they're on the hunt for Duty, right? You know, there's also WANA, We Are Not Alone Incorporated, extraterrestrial organization that's tracking down Duty. You know, so there's so many moving parts, and Duty has to, you know, his time is running out. He has to find a way to, you know, get out and get home. And so it's the action is just getting bigger and better.
Real quick, we also have and I'm sorry if I mispronounce this, Right Ass Show, saying the pages look great, Sam, and throwing some 100% in chat as well. My apologies if I mispronounced that, but thank you for the comment. So let's go ahead and check out some of these tiers. We got the digital rewards, issue 5, $7, 26 pages of story with 38 pages of comic. That's one hell of a bang for your buck for just $7. The volume 1, $18, 122 pages story, 140 PDF. So I mean, another big bang for your buck. And then the physical reward, so $30, and you're getting this in physical form. This is one gorgeous looking book too. Holy crap.
Thank you. I love that cover. I wanted something that was different from the first cover. Oh, by the way, anybody who's ever picked up the first cover of There's Anything in My Toilet, which was the blue cover with him on the water, that's discontinued. There's a new cover that's going to be a retail edition that's coming that I'm launching. I'll be introducing it at Free Comic Book Day. So look out for that. So if you have that, it's a collector's item. But yeah, so then you have the next tier, which is the physical with the print, an 8x8 print of the cover that you can actually frame and put on your wall. So there's a lot of cool stuff in this. You have the print, and I think this is the print and the sticker. So that's a nice big sticker. I mean, look how big the sticker is.
Yeah, I think I love this too. The I Am the Dudester one.
Oh yeah, nice.
See, I love the stickers, and I want to put them up, but then it's like, well, then I'll never be able to have it again. I got to keep, you know, it's like, and then your sticker game is fire. I love your merch. It has to be awesome being the creator and the artist, you know, because you could really just go ham on this merch.
Oh, I'm beast mode right now, and so I'm having so much fun. It's crazy. And
I was gonna say at 55 we have the volume 1 with the print and then some original art too. So a 5x7 original art. Is this something that you've already drawn, or you're gonna like draw like at that moment?
No, this is where, you know, you'll say, draw me Judy as this, and it'll be in black and white, and I will draw it, and I'll send it to you.
Is that Duty as Vancha Stampede?
Yes.
That's so awesome, man. That is so cool.
I have that in color as a print, and that was the #1 selling print in Puerto Rico.
I mean, it just came out too, so that's like perfect timing too. They just rehashed the anime, I think.
That's awesome.
So we at 65, volume 1 with print, you get the sticker, the original art, and then the 8x8 print as well. We have at 70 the enamel pin. This is so cool. I love how it's like a saucer with the toilet lid like right at the top.
Yeah, it's like they're here. Boom.
Oh, look at that. Yeah, that thing is so cool.
I have the pin, and then I also have the keychain as well. So
I'm jealous. I am jealous. I only have a keychain. I gotta get a pin. The pin, and so at 85 we get some more stickers as well. And then some stretch goals here. So we have the bookmark at 2,500. This cool right here, this throwback to Peanuts.
Yes.
That's so cool. And then at 1,500 or 4,500, excuse me, the Doodie and Avatar. Did you get a chance to see that second movie?
I haven't seen it yet. No.
It's long. It's long. If you do, make sure you try to pack some time to take breaks here and there. That thing's like 3 hours long. And then at 5,000, issue 5 unlocked to add to your basket. So me. This is an awesome looking cover here. Is this like a variant or?
No, that's the main cover for issue 5.
Main cover? I got you.
Yes.
Oh, so they get that. You give them that.
No, you can unlock it and add it to your basket at a discount.
Okay, my apologies. Yep. And then we have some add-ons right here. So digital drawing with you and Duty. That is so cool too. I love how you're like so involved with like the art side of things. And like including them with your characters is a really cool move.
Thanks.
And then right here's that limited edition Puerto Rico cover too for just $10, an outstanding price there.
Yeah, there's only 50 printed, and I think I have 15 left. Yeah.
And then that keychain at $5. Your merch is just outstandingly priced. Like this is, holy crap, man. This is awesome. And then all these stickers at $5. The pin at $5. There's an Alien in My Toilet issue 1 at 10. So this is that discontinued cover?
That's the discontinued cover. The new cover, it's Duty and that, I mean, it's Herman in the bathroom staring at the toilet as it's glowing. So that one's just, that was the cover, the only cover that George Medina did. But I'm starting to convert my books for retail. So whatever you got online is going to be different from the stores.
So what goes into converting it to retail? Do you just have to like change up the way the cover looks, or like?
Well, I wanted to change it up because I wanted to make the covers that you already have from Kickstarter collectibles. And
that is such a good move.
Yeah. Yeah. So I want to entice people to, go out there and say, you know what, I got this, and then try to appeal to another group of people. And then maybe people say, I want all those covers, and go out there as well. But whatever was on Kickstarter, I try to make that special.
See, and because that's a problem people often run into, they'll get upset like, hey, I just got this book, and some of the times it's cheaper in the stores than it is on the Kickstarter too. It'll be the same exact cover, same exact book, and then there you will see some people out there who do get upset about that. So I think that's cool that you're changing it for retail, not only to kind of change that, but to influence people to want to get that cover too. That's a genius move.
Thanks.
And then we have the t-shirt at 22 as well. So awesome, man. Podcast sponsor deal, $40. What?
Yeah,
what? That is cheap. If you guys are watching and if you have a book, this is cheap. So you get 4 30-second ads promoting your work. I might have to bite on this.
Yes. I got a couple of podcasters. Shout out to Story Comics. They're a sponsor. But yeah, this is $100 off of what it is on my website. And so I did it because if you add this on to your bundle, you'll get that, and you'll get 4 30-second ads on Catch the Craze. I think we got 2 sponsors from this, Paul Gomez and Story Comics.
Wow, that is so awesome. That is fantastic. So Sam, after going through that in its entirety, what would you like to say to anyone who might be on the fence about backing, if you just had a few moments to kind of reach out to them and help convince them otherwise?
I've been working on this since 2005. This is my passion project. I don't want to do anything else. Doodie is endearing. Doodie is us. Doodie is me. All of us. Anxiety, living up to your parents' expectations, wanting to find your voice and your identity, want to explore and figure out what's possible in life, right? Take risks. That journey to adulthood, right? Here's a kid trying to figure it out. And if you just want to have fun, laugh, you don't mind your belly jiggling a little bit, it's not on cool. It's not on cool. It's okay to jiggle, right? And just have fun and be a kid for a moment. Give it a shot. Give it as a gift. If just read it, you'll have fun. And the best part of it all, every book has puzzles, trivia,
yes,
and things to entertain you and the whole family. If you have a child that you're trying to get to read more and study, here's a great way. Because this really helps encourage learning and science. But most of all, it's about Doodie. He's a great kid, and I'd love for you to take a chance and read it. I know you have options, and I'm hoping that you give this one a chance.
I really love too, like in the back, outside of the puzzles, like it's such an old school feel, like, what's next, and you have an artist spotlight, which I thought was really awesome. Like you kind of really embrace that, like that older feel for comic books that we really don't see in a lot of like newer comics.
No, I think today, everybody's chasing the dollar, right? And I know a lot of guys that are producing, that they're doing 6, 7, 8, 9, crowdfunders a year, and because they just want to put out content. And I am just trying to tell a story. I'm worried. I'm more invested in building something from start to finish and investing long term. I'm not chasing. I know that this is a long game. My goal is just to get into readers' hands and finish the series, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm working on issue 6 right now. And so that's all that, this is what I love to do. And I'm hoping that the work that I put into it, you benefit from it because you picked it up, you laughed, you enjoyed it. And I'm not chasing the trend. I'm just chasing my dream. So help me fulfill my dream. Get yourself a copy. I guarantee you're going to laugh. You're going to giggle. If you don't want to laugh in front of your friends because you think it's uncool, read it at home. It's all right.
Sneak off in the other room and read a couple pages. It's all right.
Yeah. What's crazy is that my audience is a diverse audience, right? All age groups, right? So I have diehard Doodie fans who are 50s, 60s, 30s, 20s, and then I have the new generation that are just eating Doodie up. And so I'm just trying to build on that. So help me, make it happen.
So I think that's a perfect segue. You know, last time you were on the show, we asked a question in particular for anyone looking to get started. So I think right now would be another perfect time to capitalize on that. For anyone looking to chase their dream, they're just having trouble getting motivated. They're having trouble. They're feeling down. You know, maybe it's not taking off the way they envision. Maybe they're just in that struggle, you know, in the early stages. What would be some of your advice to kind of help them build that resilience, you know, keep that mental endurance going so they can just push it to see it through?
I always start with the question, you know, what happens if I don't even try? Right? So that's where I start. If I don't even try, then I'm still in the same spot. If I do try, something happens. You learn about yourself, you get creative, and you adjust, right? And that's what life is about. So what I say is, if you're really passionate about it, there's no easy answer to this because it's all based on your individual experience and what you're going through. But take the steps towards answering those questions for yourself and learn to have fun with it. Don't make it about expectation, make it about self-fulfillment, right? Mm-hmm. How am I going to feel if I did this? And then try to, you know, again, if you missed that episode, watch it with Paul Gomez. He struggled with dyslexia, and he made a goal to read 300 pages in a month, which is hard when you have dyslexia. And 8 hours a day was invested. And it took him a month, 8 hours a day, to read 300-page book. But what it did for him and his confidence at the end of that journey catapulted him to where now he has publishers bidding for his projects. Someone who couldn't even write and focus. So it's possible. You just got to ask yourself, what am I willing to do to make it happen? And then just run. Don't worry about the feedback or the comments. Everybody has an opinion. Worry about you and how it's going to make you feel. And if you can look yourself in the mirror every day and say, you know what, today I did better than yesterday, you're one step better than a lot of people. So keep working forward and keep dreaming and reach for the stars, man.
I'm about to run off this podcast and start reaching for them right now. I mean, a lot of people don't realize, like, I had a speech impediment until I was like 6 or 7. I didn't talk until I was like 6 or 7. Took years of speech therapy. I had a stuttering problem a little bit. Pronunciations are still my weak point, but I'm taking it upon myself to like go through like the English, like the chart. It's like the chart for pronunciations and relearn that stuff because like you said, you really have to ask yourself, like, do you want this? And how you're going to get this. And sometimes you just have to go back over the basics and just really start hammering them back down. You know, you got to go through your roots and redo it. So some awesome advice. Sam, before we let you go, what are you consuming outside of creating? What are you reading, watching? You know, if you play games, what are you playing?
I'm not playing games right now. I just finished watching, The Night Shift on Netflix. Okay. It was an FBI agent, which was pretty cool. I'm watching The Mandalorian. I haven't finished it. I just watched an episode last night. I'm a little behind the times with that. I'm waiting for Jack Reacher to come back. I'm waiting for that series. And I just listen to a lot of podcasts, and I just draw and create a lot, and just produce content. But for the most part, I only get about an hour a day to watch something. It's usually when I'm getting to go to bed. That's why it's taking me so long for The Mandalorian, because I'll watch like 20 minutes and then I'm out. That's what I do to, and then I collect a lot of art of books, so I think my newest one is Crash Bandicoot, which is
that's
art
so
book.
Awesome.
Yes, that's my newest art book of book. So I love to learn from the people who do it and do it big.
Sam's like, consume. He's like, all I do is create, man. Get out of my face with that. Everyone watching, this has been one hell of a sit down. Right here is the link once again to back this awesome campaign. And like I said, if you can't back it, simply share it. Word of mouth is 100% free. And it's the easiest thing you can do today. So with that being said, it is time for us to wrap up. Hope you all have a lovely Saturday. But most importantly, guys, keep it geekly.